practice among urban women in Java. So the talk attempts to address the long-running controversy of religion's place in environmental stewardship. And then through teachings that position humans above nature, religion is thought to contribute to environmental exploitation. But religion is also thought to provide a framework that will lead humans to be environmental guardians. Beyond the religious dimension, literature on gender jumps into the conversation by arguing that women have always taken up the majority of environmental care work without ever being acknowledged for it and critiquing how religion has sustained these multi-layered forms of oppression. Using mainly qualitative data derived from participation, the discussion attempts to present the experience of women who had been actively involving in environmental initiatives in their daily lives. And then for our amazing speaker for today is Mbak June Cahyaning Tias. So she has just graduated from her doctoral studies at ICRS in January 2024. She is a lecturer at the Department of International Relations of Universitas Pembangunan Nasional Veteran, UPN Veteran, and her interest in non-traditional security in international relations has led her to study issues pertaining to everyday forms of environmentalism. So without any further ado, please welcome Mbak June.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Boleh pakai mic?
Oh iya. Thank you, MC, for introducing me to all the people coming here. Thank you for your coming. My presentation is basically taken from the research that I conducted for completing my ini aja ya.
Okay.
The presentation I prepared here is basically taken from the
Coba boleh ditukar nih kayaknya
karena kurang. Hello? Yes.
Choose.
So it is taken from my research that I have just finished for completing my doctoral thesis. It basically talks about how women who has no background in environmental studies, in religious studies, they try to participate in the environmental action and activism using the hands-on availability of instruments that they have, and they are actively campaigning the environmental issues in the public. So for me, this is very interesting, and that's the reason why I'd like to. I was keen on finding deeper about the phenomenon. Okay. Background of my study is we talk about the role of religion in environmentalism. You can see that there are two groups. Those who sees the positive contribution of religion and those who see the negative contribution of religion. Both of them have their own critics. Okay. The one who positively conceive religion as the potential motive for environmental action focus on the normative and the pedagogical aspect of religion, and there has been many research talking about this, and many of this research in Indonesia, in the context of Indonesia, is talking about the issuance of the fatwa or the establishment of Council on Environment. And then we can see that the critics is that there is a lack of religion's concrete contribution. How this many initiative is not followed by actual action. And then those who conceive religion negatively holds that religion is responsible for the separation of human from nature, in a way that human is positioned above the nature. And some scholars, especially those coming from the ecofeminism background, sees that it particularly have so much concern on the weight of the burden put upon women. And in Indonesia, if we put in the context, irrespective of being culturally influenced by religion, environmental problem is worsening day by day. And from the existing research, we know that the role of religious authorities are found to be five. Research by Faizi, for instance, on the establishment of the brick cement, explain how the role of Kiai is not prominent in protecting the environment and protecting local people who live in the margin because of the establishment of the public good. And also there are many more research talking about economically driven development that eventually impede all the results that may be taken from the issuance of environmental law, policy, program, or initiatives. So I only focus on environmentalism in daytime because I see that before the pandemic, campaigns on everyday sustainability emerged only from two streams. One is those who link with the NGO or startup on sustainable living, and some others, mostly conducted by women. They do not have any link with religious authorities, environmental organization, education institution, or profit-seeking activities. So I think the second group is quite interesting to study. Among these women, three prominent features were found. Their activities are centered on the household, and they have used social media very active, and they also make use religious terms in their rhetoric in the campaigns they make. So here, the study is focusing on the experience of women practicing sustainable living and attempts to see the extent to which religion plays its role in environmental care work in their life. There are three questions addressed in the study. First, what kind of environmental issues do these women address? Second, how is their daily practice of sustainable living informs how religion is experienced by these women? And last, how and in which way religion may contribute to the everyday care for the environment, and what implication does it make? So this is the boring part, Shanti.
Yeah.
So the data collection is gathered from participation. So basically, because this is conducted during COVID, and it is hardly possible for me to access directly people in cities living far away from Jogja. So I try to do the research by participation. So I actively participating in whatever action they do. I hope that by doing active participation, I will have an existential view from the inside. So in this participation, I make use any perceptual senses that I experience, and I also try to use it as a kind of modalities. It's a kind of somatic modalities that I will be using whenever I conversate with them or whenever I interview them. And then the analysis is made by interpretation, and I analyze it reflectively. The implementation of the data collection is conducted by online and offline participation. I also conducted interview and conversation. Okay, so the first one answer in this slide. All these women initially address only one issue, that is household waste. But then, after the pandemic happened, their action developed into cognitive practices. They start to learn how to do crafting. Crafting has something to do with how to reduce your waste. Okay. In that case, what they did is they, for instance, trying to make for anything. Okay. And there are many others. And with the objective that they may extend the length of usability of any materials or food. So this action was initiated by women, executed by women, and then they also try to find solution when they deal with problems in their day-to-day challenge. The motivation coming well, most religious scholars will say that all environmental action is coming from religious worldview, but apparently I didn't find it. I didn't find it among my informants. In fact, they said that the reason why they start jumping into the action is because they are fed up with the daily encounter of this problem, which is seemingly unsolvable. And then they have some dissatisfaction with how it has been dealt with by the municipality, by the society. So that's the reason. So in fact, they minimize their scope of action only in their household for the beginning. And they have some affordability in this case in the form of socio-historical affordability. I'm saying about the childhood experience that they have. Most of my informants have exposure to childhood experience with the issue of environmental activities, meaning outdoor activities or problem regarding environmental disaster, things like that. So it gives a vivid memory for them, and they can take that when they see the issue of waste that becoming bigger and bigger in the society. Another affordability is coming from internet. So technological affordability is very important here because it provides them with the initial medium from where they learn how to deal with waste problems. Not only by composting. Initially, they only did composting, but then for many other actions that can be conducted alongside composting. And also, they most of them acknowledge that they had some influence. So they were influenced by environmental figures, and these environmental figures is mostly taken from environmental figures that they found in social media. So it's like a chain of reaction, actually. They see the example from social media, they follow it, they try to capture this figure what they do in their daily life, and then they try to produce it, and then they get some motivation to further engagement. And from this, we can say that sustainable living practice is social learning. It's an activity that is only derived from informal learning, not from formal learning. And it is lifelong. When endurance to practice sustainable living lead them to boredom, tiredness, or loneliness, they couple with engagement offline and online. So, what can I summarize from this finding in this in answering the first question is that sustainable living is social learning. It relies on active reproductions. And by saying active reproductions, I'm saying about the experience. You cannot say experience if you don't do it. You have to do it and then it becomes an experience. In fact, doing is experiencing. People think that experiencing only experience only happen when you complete the action. No. Experience is happening along the way of your doing it. And in this process of experiencing, all of these women, in fact, developed a mental of building habits. And as I experienced myself, it's not easy. It's very difficult. And sometimes I get mad because why should I do this all alone? But then I remember I should do this because this is my research. But what about them?
Honestly.
I also found that the way there are many gender studies saying that this is a form of burden for women, and they try to explain it in how they differentiate the idea of whether this is a kind of labor, whether this is a kind of work which is very exhausting and it leads to nowhere because it's just repeating on and on, or it is some kind of action that leads to outcome. And most of them say that this is a kind of labor or work, but not action because it is conducted at home. But from what I see, the way they try to reach people, they engage with people, and without even expecting that they will have some followers, for instance, on social media, is quite amazing because in all the conversation I made with them, all of them said that this is a grand task. It's a big task for all of them, but they realize the difficulties, but they keep doing it without knowing where it will ends up. So I think it's very great. And also I found that when we talk about care as a work, and I think this is pedagogically and politically rich. In answering the second question, sustainable living practice and religious experience. So on surface, they use these terms very frequent whenever they post something and whenever we conversate with them. They will mention this. They will use ecological conversion, mostly among the Catholic informants. And then they will also say hijrah meaning sampah. And although the two seems to be incompatible, one is talking about conversion, one is talking about hijrah, but the two share the same idea of migration. That is migrating to moderate living, sacrificing the self-conveniency, which is realized to be adversely impacted upon others. And then second term that they also use is istiqomah. So they don't see any objectives, like grand objectives. but they focus on small, continuously improved action. Along the course of time, of course, they develop the objectives, but not in the beginning. In the beginning, it only aimed to solve the problems before their eyes. But then they try to develop their own objectives. One of my performance, for instance, her objective is to develop a home education which is in accordance with all this environmental education. Not one actually, some of my informants, because some of them are practicing homeschooling. And then trusteeship for amanah. They also use this term to remind themselves on the road that each people assume. This is, I think, also interesting. They never consider the action, the activities that they perform as something that is relied only for women. They believe that this is not for women only. This is for all people, every people, because waste issue is a problem of consumption, and all of us consume. And as part of the excess, we create waste. So all of us are responsible for it. So I think it's also interesting because again, when we go back with the discussion promoted by gender lens, using gender lens, we tend to see the strict separation. For them, they know their place in the world. They know that I have my responsibilities. If this is something that I have to do in the family, so this is my part of trying to pay for my responsibilities. But that doesn't mean that other member of the family is not responsible for me. That is something that they are aware of. I also found that composting became a litmus test, and most informal regard its value for self-reflection through all or religious experience. So this is also, I think, interesting because I also experienced it myself. After more than 8 months, I could not succeed in composting. I leave. I got angry myself. Why people get so easily produce dark soil, which is living, but I could not. But then, after I never touched the waste bin, the composter bag, and then after some more months, somebody in the family said, "Bu, kayaknya jadi deh." So I took it, and then yes, it turns into black soil, and it's living. You can see, you can smell it. It's very nice. So from what was initially very dirty, full of maggots, and then you find it that it becomes so full of fragrance, yeah, because it's fermented. You realize that something is working. Okay, and all of my informants say that this is the moment where they realize that some greater thing is working in this mechanism. So, sustainable living practice is fertile with reflection and potential transformation. And this cannot be taken if one is not attention enough. So attentionality is very important in the overall process of sustainable living practice. And this is the last slide. So this will answer the third question: the contribution of religion in environmentalism in everyday life. So religion plays a part in environmentalism in everyday life, although it is not present when they start to initiate the action. But once they start embarking the journey, and then they are at the moment when they realize, and this realization came from composting, they find that they are able to reorient that purpose. They try to think that this is not something that I will do for myself. I think this is something that is more valuable to do. It's not ends here, but it will continue later on, especially when they start to develop that other practices. They start to use the compost into gardening. So it's all they see it in a full circle relation, life relation. They start to think cautiously, and they realize that how my preference, my selection of particular thinking will push me to judge for something, and then it will lead me to particular decision where the decision will bring problems or solution. This is also something that they start to think. Okay, they have the word among Muslim informant. They have the word zalim to explain if the action is not in accordance with the law of nature, then it is zalim. Religion also critique and self-correct the modern lifestyle. Especially they critique and self-correct the modern mantra of self-care that stands upon individual rights, which is equated with the need versus approach. And this is happened in some of my informants who, for instance, saying that one of my informants, she's a doula and a breastfeeding counselor. She said that we can choose an easy way or the hard way, but the easy way used to lead us to problem that we don't know. And then just like throwing our garbage in front of our house, and then somebody will pick it up, and then all our problem is solved. But then there are more problems for them to handle and shut our eyes, things like that. So we know that there are many fires burning in many TPA, and there are many victims because of these fires, and also there are many more accidents related to how we never try to discipline ourselves to separate the garbage, thinking that this is because in any way they will put it back together. So why should we care for that? That is also some of the answers that I keep receiving when I share answers. Religion also provides ecological framework. The one that I mentioned, who is a doula and the breastfeeding counselor, she said that giving breastfeed to the child is also one way to reduce waste. Because you don't have to consume a bottle, you don't have to consume any other utensil to change for the breastfeeding itself. So she's seeing it as breastfeeding is part of fitrah, and fitrah is in line with the approach to way of thinking. Religion also promotes ethical cultivation. Because all of the informants said that initially all they want to do is only solving their household problem, but then they start to reach some great objectives, and they start thinking whether whether these actions should be delivered, disseminated to other people, so that more people knowing about it, so that we can collectively do something about it, and things like that. So here we cannot differentiate between the moral ideas that every individual people have with the ethical ideas that we commonly share. And this is also eventual humiliation of the public, because there are conversations happening not only in social media, but majority was happening in social media, but also in offline. What's happening? So this is only for conclusion. Ingold says that religion is founded upon grammar of participation. It is demonstrated through the dedication and fervor with which individuals engage with the world. This engagement is not reliant only in specific beliefs or conception of the world, but rather arises from recognition of one's responsibility to the world based on their existence and ability to take actions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. Maybe first 3 questions or comments. Don't be shy. Okay.
Thank you, June, and congratulations once again on finishing and being at this stage in your career and being free from all the stress. We need new microphones. I'm just going to talk loud because this thing is horrible.
What's that? What's that?
I really appreciate the fact that you went in with the question of how does religion influence environmentalism or contribute to it. And your finding, I think, was very honest. I think a lot of students maybe are afraid of giving honest findings. And your finding is that at the beginning, religion isn't a part of this. They're motivated by other things. They're motivated by the necessity. They're motivated by Instagram and other sources. And so I just want to say I appreciate that, because many students don't realize that their hypothesis does not have to be correct. Your hypothesis in your research can be very wrong. And being a true scholar and academic, when we write our thesis, we write a dissertation, it's okay to say, this is what I expected to see, or I hope to see, or I imagined from my literature review that I would see, but the reality is totally different. Now, with that said, as a religious leader, what would your suggestion be for me to motivate people in the beginning to have ecological viewpoints and practices for everyday life?
Shall I complete? Okay. Yeah, sure. Okay, so here I mentioned about the support of they are supported by affordance. Affordability is something that able to stimulate us to do something to respond to our environment. So affordability can be very negative because it makes us hesitant, but that's also part of the response. Or it may drive us or compel us to do more active response. So here I found that the affordability of each of my informants is because they have the exposure of social historical experience. And this social historical experience is derived from family, mostly. Not from school, but from family. It is from their family that one of my informants said that I want to bring my kid closer to nature after her kid is suffered from some illness. So they choose to move to a rather isolated area And then they built their own home where they try to have their own organic garden, and then they have their own small farm with chickens and goat there. So that's I think I asked her, what from where did you get this courage? And she said that no, this is something that I used to do when I was small. So she came from Jember, and then she said that when she was in Jember, she said that she grew up with all this kind of lifestyle. So it gives her confidence to do the same again for the children. And another another informant who is a lecturer said that from school I find it very, so this is the negative performance. I find it very devastating, thinking that what I learn in school is not the same with what I practice. What is practiced in school? So she rejected the school. She decided to find her own solutions, and uh, she bring the family to make it part of their home education, as I mentioned. So affordance is something that I think we can how to say, usahakan. We can try, we can make endeavor. Perhaps you as a religious leader can, rather than talking about environmental problem and how we should do this and that, I think asking your congregates to pay more attention to how education is happening in the family, I think it's a lot more relevant, more significant. It matters most, I think, because I realized that children learn through experience, children learn through examples, and children learn through atmosphere. So if you like either of these three components, I think they will find something else out there. And they don't have any pillars to make this socio-historical problems there. I think so.
Okay, next question. Okay, I'll come to you. Hi, I'm Aziza. I'm just a scientist. First, thank you. You give me optimism because I got so many thought decision. I would like to ask, in your informants, are there any pensioners? Like how many percent there? And if you have well, the pensioners, and how many of those live in quote unquote gentrified area. Jadi tempat yang dulunya lahan pertanian katakanlah sederhananya seperti itu terus berubah menjadi kota gitu, urban, dan kalau zaman dulu kan orang bakar sampah organik gitu, sekarang bakar sampah ada plastiknya. Nah, saya dikelilingi orang yang kebetulan bakar sampah sebagai ekspresi agensi dia, ekspresi kemampuan dia untuk melakukan sesuatu yang dia hilang ketika ruang hidupnya berubah dari lahan pertanian ke urban gitu. I'm surrounded by people who burn waste because they burn waste when they were little. They burn waste and it's organic, so it's okay. It become like some sort of composting. But now with plastic, it's not that good, and they burn waste because they use it as an expression of agency. Could you, if there's
any of your informants who is how to say living gentrified area and pensioners and how many of those are bapak-bapak kelurahan? Apa ya, saya bukan bapak kelurahan tapi ibu-ibu kelurahan. The people in the hamlet administration. Thank you. And what the whether or not there are those people in your informants, what do you suggest to handle those people in terms of environmental issues? Thank you. I have 10 informants that I choose to represent the research. I have 10 informants that I choose to represent my research here. They live in urban area because I'm saying urban area because I try to define the urban area as a place that there is city. There is city. It's a big city. It's in fact it's a city with many students, so it's a service city. So it's people coming from many other places to this city, and then it has been developed as a city of pelajar, city of student for I think more than 20 years ago. So I think it's difficult to consider it as a hamlet area. Most of the house that they live is in the residential area is in complex perumahan. So I think it's difficult to consider it as a hamlet area. But in Indonesia, I think the separation between whether this is truly a city and truly a hamlet, I think it's not that rigid. I think that's also what I found there. I mean, they live in the compound complex, modern perumahan, settlement, modern settlement. But they also have that attitude of burning the waste, and sometimes they burn the waste in the evening. So it's a time for ibu-ibu to go out and then talking to each other and then burning their waste in front of their house. It happens, but one of my informants who is very, I think I can say that she is the leading informant. She's the one who tried to introduce jublangan to ibu-ibu complex. So it's going back to the old idea of making jublangan, and because they only have a small house, small plot of land, they have to make jublangan together in the community, in the community area of the residential. So they make jublangan and then they put it there. And I saw that it works for them. For people who live in a more rather spacious place, they create jublangan in their own house. But I think it's a lot more convenient. I'm not sure about others. As to myself, I think it's a lot more convenient to have a composter bin at home, because by doing composter bin, we can adjust to the leftover area in the house that can be used for for us to put this compost bin. And also we can arrange, now I know, I don't have to wait for 1 year for compost to be able to harvest. Now I know, it's a matter of compositions to keep the balance between the elements of green, of brown, and how once in a while we have to add some ecoenzyme, and then it will add for the activity of the fermentation, things like that. I think it depends on the people. It depends on how. It depends on the needs that you have. Depends on whether you feel easy or uneasy with the microorganism that sometimes they coming out just to say hello. Yes.
Okay, next. Yeah. Okay.
Hello everyone. Good afternoon. My full name is Italia Hayaan. You can call me Tutam. From the state of Ambon Christian Institute of Religion and Culture. Two questions. Number one, bagaimana kita dapat mempertemukan perspektif agama dalam hal ini, peranan perempuan dan kearifan lokal untuk mencapai kelestarian lingkungan yang baik. Yang kedua, bagaimana pandangan agama terhadap eksploitasi lingkungan dan bagaimana agama dapat menjadi solusi untuk permasalahan yang ada di lingkungan tersebut. Thank you.
I think question is very tough. For the first question, I think region can learn from the local wisdom. Yes, Kiblana is one of the local wisdom that we have. If you don't have much time, if you're lazy to do anything with the garbage that you produce, then just throw it out, and then once in a while you have to cover it with some dirt, and then they will just work out all by themselves. That's one of their local wisdom. I think many people in Java practice it. But also the local wisdom is also fermentation. I'm not sure if until now I'm still not sure whether we have that rich tradition of fermentation. I think people who live in 4 seasons have that kind of tradition of fermenting food. We're not, because we have food all year round. And that's also the reason I think why we tend to see food left over as waste. It's not something that we have to reuse again and again until it's unable to use. Like for instance, one of my informants also explained to me how she eventually tried to learn how to make tepache. Tepache is a fermentation that is usually practiced by people in Mexico, and they use the skin of the pineapple that tend to be put away, and it is used with water and then with some brown sugar, and then it will create into fermented grains, which is full of probiotics. And she take it for daily intake because she has problem with health. So I think this is also the kind of practices that
it's not many people would like to dig deeper into it, but the small action is actually important when we start thinking if the household is a very a vital place for us to start developing environmental activism, because this is what we deal every day. Second question is,
Can you repeat? Sorry.
bagaimana pandangan agama terhadap eksploitasi lingkungan dan bagaimana agama dapat menjadi solusi untuk permasalahan di lingkungan tersebut. I'm not sure if I'm a proper person to say this, but I think religion as a norm is very has provide a very clear foundation for us to follow. But I think the problem is not in religion. The problem is with the one who is following the religion. And sometimes the problem is with the one who are interpreting the religion. Again, one of my informants said that initially she's trying to bring the issue of environment to an ustazah. Trying to make some collaboration and then to bring this issue forward into public. But then the ustazah said that, no, sudah ada yang ngurus. This is a matter that the government should take care of. It's not our thing to do. It's not our thing to do. So she believes that dealing with waste management is the same as brooming the street. Once it is done, so it's done. It's not part of, it's not before our again, and it's not problem. So it's done. And she also, this informant, tried to go to another ustazah and another ustazah, and she said, after 3 times trying, I said, no, I think I give up. I do my own task. So what she did is she's trying to read, she's trying to read Quran, and then she talked to some of the followers who also active in supporting her cause, and then they built their own communities, and then they try to lead an example where they are able, as a Muslim woman, to without formal religious educational background, to interpret their own way. Okay. And up until today, I still follow her and becoming one of the member of the community. We keep talking and talking about the issue in an online gathering, where she's keeps saying about the environmental issue and how we are supposed to deal with it. And that is from Muslim experience. From the Catholic experience, my informant also said that initially her involvement in environmental issues is because first she is having health issues, and she's trying to recover from it. And secondly, she's working in a cooperative that this cooperative has members of local sellers, small local sellers. And among these small local sellers, there are those who keep saying that I want to sell this, but I don't want to create more waste because of my selling. Would you please do your part and try to market to people who want to buy my products? So it stimulates her thinking that even they know how to deal with the issue of waste. And because she is active in church, she's talking with the head of church, and then she said, and then she received a response that is unsuitable for her. Well, at that time, she just received the Laudato Si, and cyclical, and then she bring it to the Romo, and then the Romo said that, oh, this is something that should not be bring to the public, because this is something that we still have to talk about internally. That is before the pandemic happened. But after the pandemic happened, I think it changed the way people thinking about the environment. I think even religion also put more care about it. In fact, from the literature review I read, I found that in fact some organizations have already started with their own cause, including even MOE also have their own initiative of eco-mastery, but then it's not developed into like massive action of making all the mosques are ready for them. So it's just planned and it's there in their websites at that. So I think it's quite promising after the pandemic thing.
Okay, next. Okay, let's start. Someone from the back. Oh.
Well,
Thank you very much, Mbak Jun, for your lesson. Yeah, I agree. Sustainable living is a burden for our. We have so many clean architecture. I mean, like we have Ugahari architecture, open space, and in the end, the one who swept the floors, the woman, not the architect, not the male who paid the house, etc., etc. Yes, my own experience. I mean, like, I wonder, it's interesting, mentioned by Mike, like, they initiated the action not because religious reason. And interestingly, they use the religious vocabulary to express their action, including conversion, hijrah, minim sampah. Where did this labeling come from? I mean, like, when religiosity come into and play? That's my first question. And the second question is because I'm curious because your background as an in international relations studies. So how you elaborate your dissertation issue with the international relations studies? And like, I just give my I already give me insight that in PR studies, we have like I have to say that non-traditional security program, but yeah, as we know, like most of the intersection between IRS, interrelation studies, and religious studies, mostly on traditional security, but non-traditional is not much. Thank thank you very much.
So religion comes into force after they experience
after they experience loneliness,
this tiredness, loneliness, boredom, and
this is the first instance where religion comes in. Along with this feeling of exhaustion,
they also experience the awe experience of harvesting compost. So I think it's coming to force together, and then what is happening is at that time they didn't see it as mere chores. I mean, this is chores. Yes, admittedly, this is chores. But this is more than chores. There's a value in it, and we can, digging more value into it. And I think this is the first time they start to realize it. When I said that they have the engagement offline and online, they make the engagement as a form of motivation. But they also found people who experience the scenes of feeling tired, feeling bored, feeling exhausted. So it is from these similar shared experience that they become strengthened. And when they start to talk about, I have experienced this, and this is very much enlightening, and this is like awe-inspiring, it makes more people to expect the same. Okay, so discussion flowingly goes in that direction. Second question. Is it okay with the?
Yeah.
The second question.
So the vocabulary, I mean the words like ecological conference and the Minimum Sampah comes from their engagement with the community.
Yes, it comes from the engagement with their community, and for there is one informant I mentioned the name Megan here, and along with Catherine, they are the leading of the all of this religious conversation. They are the one. So whereas Catherine is very active in church, and she tries to read religion in her own way. Similarly happening with Megan, she's trying to delve deeper into the message of the Quran, and then the many others. So I think that's. And Megan is also producing many books about her experience. And yeah, I think it's important with that. Second question, from the very beginning, I always suspect international relation as a discipline which is very much focusing, very much sorry to say, Western. Because no, this is personal experience. I mean, I realized that international relation is very much Western. I mean, this is built in based on Western history, and then it develops into the model of Western civilization. Yeah, it's very much Western. Yeah. So when I graduated, I thought, okay, I'm safe. So I took American Studies, which is also
The biggest start. The biggest start.
twice going into the same hole. Is that answering your question?
No, I mean like what I mean like how to connect, elaborate your your
This is something that I haven't been able to answer, but I think whatever we keep talking in international relations when we saying governance, environmental governance, environmental regime, environmental norms, things like that, which is wow. This is actually relied on the actual day-to-day basis of the people who are willing to do this. I think that's what happened. I mean, I know there are non-governmental organizations, but the one who are doing it without any acknowledgement, without any remuneration, without anything to keep you in touch with that action, I think it's them who are actually doing this day-to-day basis. So I think that's the relations, but it's difficult to find and to articulate it.
I think your work is, I mean like interesting and creatively to maybe like I think I don't know. I think your work is very creative and like doing this environmental issue and to relate the non-state actors to the international ER studies that very Western and like I just think like I don't know it's part in my mind that what you did is like try to put like could decolonize the ER studies to become more I don't know
Like community service.
yeah yeah as you said people debating the real people not the government yeah non-state.
I think that's what matters then.
Oke, next untuk Mbak Jun ini ada pertanyaan dari YouTube, ya. Oke, dari Nisa Tasrif, thank you for the question. So she asks two questions. The first question is, what advice can you give to university students, especially students from Islamic colleges, or people who are new to or not familiar at all with environmental sustainability from their daily life? That's the first question. And then the second question is how to build the spirit of eco-consciousness. And this consciousness is not just temporary, but becomes a commitment and sustainable or a habit of our life. So please, June.
Can we repeat the first question?
Okay, so the first question is, what advice can you give to the university students, especially Islamic college students, or people who are new or not familiar with environmental sustainability in their daily life? Maybe like just to help them to start doing the sustainable living practice.
When I conducted my research fieldwork, I happened to live in a boarding house, which was nearby with UIN. So I stayed with students of UIN at that time, and in one of the occasion, I bring the composter and put it in front of my room. So people was asking, what is this? What is this? So I said, this is composter. But then I realized that there will be some creatures. So I keep it back in the laundry area. And then I keep it like that, raining, and then from the sunshine, I keep it that way. People will see, and whenever I have the chance to have the excess of my consumption, so I just throw it in. I stayed there with my daughter. She stayed with me when I conducted that fieldwork. So we observe every day what is actually happening. Will people question? From the 13 people staying in different rooms, less than 5 people were asking me, what is it? Why do you have it here? So less than 6 people. Okay. When I distribute a questionnaire for them, of course, many of them are coming from religious background education. So it's formal schooling of religion. Many of them said that they did not practice it. So that's also part of the thing that I found, and it's quite challenging, I think. And I think if we talk about how are we supposed to have that sustainability awareness, it's there everywhere. It's there everywhere, and because I'm sure she's a lot more younger than me, and I'm sure she's using social media. So I think it's there's no excuse for people to say that I don't have any exposure to this issue and that practice. I think the example is very much available there. And even I have the idea of taking this as my research project also because of social media. I experienced setback when I did my research, and then my elder daughter said that just go play with Instagram and you'll find happiness. And then I found new topics to research. So it's coming from that. So I think people may find there are many again affordability that we can make use of our own environment. Some other people may find inspiration from friends because there is one informant also said that she gained the inspiration from a friend because this friend is active in Indonesia berkebun, and then this friend said di rumah aja, hashtag di rumah aja can be celebrated during the pandemic by hashtag berkebun di rumah. So she take her friend, she bring her friend along, and then even this friend becomes more and more active than the activist of the Indonesia berkebun herself. I think it happens, you know. I found some lucu-lucu story out there. Second question.
Okay, second question.
Is how to build the spirit of eco-consciousness, not just temporarily, but for a habit, for our habit. How to build eco-consciousness.
Even I myself feeling like sometimes I feel like, oh no. And when I talk to my informant, they also say the same. Okay. Sometimes there is a moment that we feel like enough is enough. I'm so tired, things like that. But again, community really helps. So joining the community is very much helpful. Community of practices. And because the community of practice used to bring more stories, bring more best practices, bring more inspirations for all the other members, and then again we got our own motivation again. And the community of practice can be accessed online and offline. This is another funny story. One of my informants said because she had a setback during her practice in sustainable living practice at home, she tries to build community herself. So she built community herself. She bring the other 2%. And then they create this community, and they, by building community, they said, we are responsible for what we are doing. So I think there are many ways, you know, very creative ways to deal with this issue of consistency, because it's always very easy for us to quit, you know, after some period of time. I quit when I did composting after 6 months. Then I come back after I experienced the harvesting of the compost. And then again I quit when I experienced setback in doing certain things. And then I get back again. So this is actually what is happening. You cannot expect people to keep maintaining the same spirit on and on again. I think that's not happening, and it's quite human.
Okay, thank you for the answer. The next question, Pak Zain?
Yeah.
Mas Jun. Okay.
So yeah, actually my first thank you very much, Pak Jun. I think it's very interesting. So now I think I want to try to find your dissertation and read from the beginning to the end. So yeah, I find it very interesting. My first question actually already Abdi already asked that question, exactly that question, but I think, and you gave the answer, but I found that your questions are very interesting because yeah, not many people ask that question. Usually people ask the question about motivation, whether religion motivates people or not, etc. But in this case, correct me if I'm wrong, you start with people who are already practicing and using these religious terms. And then you ask the question how their practice contribute to their religiosity, something like that. So yeah, that is what I found very interesting. So many well, recently, I think there are many articles, especially about green Islam, which basically is skeptical. They don't think that green Islam works. But of course, I think the problem is how do you define green Islam? Is green Islam something which is done by Majlis Ulama issuing fatwa, etc.? Maybe that doesn't work. But there are also community-based environmentalism. And this example, I think, is also very interesting because this is, well, probably I can say these are not activists in the sense, but they are active. I mean, they are environmentalists. We can call them that. And then this is coming from their personal experience. So I don't know whether based on your research you can say something more about this broader discourse of religion and environment. I know that's not your question, so if you don't want to say about it, that's fine. But so yeah, that's my only comment. But I'd like to give try to answer Mike's questions. I mean, how you as religious leaders. I think Jun's story, that's interesting. That probably we can say, I mean, not only your story, but others also, they found a kind of religious experience in composting. So maybe you can say, if you want to find God, take care of the garbage. That's
Yeah, do that.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'll just an hour question. Thank you. Really great presentation and a lot to think about. Building on what Mas Abdi and Pak Zain said, I'm interested in this idea about gender and particularly about race and samba. So did you find, you mentioned about affordability as being a way to kind of justify, reducing waste or finding other ways. But how about sort of the idea of waste as being unclean or waste as being kotor? And how does that, is there any way that the women deal with that? How they explain dealing with waste or try to see waste in different.
Let me just address briefly Pak Zen remarks. Yes, I think I've read in Fikri and Colombia. They said that Green Islam in Indonesia is not working because we are unable to solve the environmental problem, and it gets worsening year by year, and you can even see from the many issues of garbage, and that's also, I think, the reason why I decided not to see what religion can do, but what the adherents of the religions have done. And that's, I think, actually that's the turning point for myself. And initially, when I saw how they use the rhetoric of religious terms, I thought that must be the reason why they do all these activities. And until I found that that's not the main reason, that's not the main stimulus. So in many cases, this research process brings me to the state where, oh God, this is wrong again. So I have to to unravel things like that. So this research process is a process of unlearning for me. That's also one of the reason why I said that I don't have much things to say about the methodology, but this is participation. I mean, I'm trying to participate and I learn from them, and it's what they think about what they're doing. And referring to your questions, it's also interesting when they use religion to critique the way we modern people used to treat other people. In Indonesia, we have the saying "tukang sampah," but in fact, they are the garbage collector. They collect our garbage, but we call them tukang sampah. We are tukang sampah.
Tukang
So this is also something that they address. So this is something that is quite staggering for me when I first joined their trainings on West House. One of the resource persons said that we have to keep an eye to how the language is used. And wow, I thought this is the mother speaking. So I think sometimes we don't see things correctly, perhaps because we are framed within particular framework. I mean, they're dealing with the real situations, and they have much rich sight in seeing things. And they keep saying that, people keep talking that zalim is only when we do some bad things to other people. No, zalim is also when we do something bad to the nature. When we do something bad to people in the future that we haven't even met. Okay. And it is also zalim, they said, when we try to build up to live wrongly what is inherited from us, inherited to us. This is also zalim. So they have a very rich conversation about this matter. So I think yes, they realize the issue that women are the one who in the lowest rank of the what we call circular economy of waste. Okay, they're critiquing circular economy. For them, this is something that is another invention of modernity. And they are talking about this in their own language, in their own way of speaking, which for me is like truly genuine. To be able to listen this from people who knows exactly what they're doing and knows how to deal with them and trying to find solution for it, I think it's a great experience. And I remember that in India, I once talked to one of my informants. In India, we have the term Savai Karamchari. Savai Karamchari is people who are outside the class. They're the one who have to do all the manaya work of collecting things that even people don't want to deal with. So I understand that layers of oppression, but as people who learn it only from books, from from papers, I can only tell it to a certain audience, and they keep talking about it to diverse audience, and they telling it without hesitance, and it's just great. Thank you.
Okay, so big applause for our speaker for today. So yeah, so thank you so much, Martin, for a very fruitful discussion for this afternoon, and thank you so much for coming to this Wednesday forum. And don't forget to come in our next Wednesday forum, right? Yes. The topic will be announced very soon. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you. And don't forget, Bajin, we have souvenirs that will be delivered by Pak Zain.
Oh ya. Terima kasih banyak. Right. Satu, dua. Ya. Oh, ada apa dua? Makasih Kak. Iya. Smos. Tapi itu jalan.